A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
Wise words there from Yoda. But let's change this today. So today you will learn to defend your knowledge of forces in order to attack physics questions. So what is a force? Today we're going to learn a force and we're going to compare push forces and pull forces, okay? Let's have a look at Bruce Lee. He's an example of his 1-inch punch, and then it's an example of a push force. He's pushing that plank there. Here we've got a car braking. Now that car's slowing down, but there's still a force on the car, friction pushing it back there. So that's another push force. And obviously this guy, Muhammad Salah, what a gun. He's pushing that ball with his beautiful left boot there. So there are 3 examples of push forces. And here's going to be, this is a typical pull force, so the tug-of-war. And secondly, we've got the Earth pulling the moon, so the moon's being pulled. This is a classic clip from the Mighty Boosh. And thirdly, another pull force here we've got is maybe a door getting pulled open, or a doorknob getting pulled open. So here you can kind of see the difference between a push and a pull force. But let's look at this a bit further. Okay, so in order to define these push and pull forces, we should actually focus on these objects and the forces on these particular objects, so that are getting pushed or pulled. So let's think about here. So the plank itself is getting pushed by Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. Secondly, the car is getting pushed itself by the friction on the road. And thirdly, we've got Mo Salah. The ball itself is getting pushed. Here we'll think about that dude who's getting pulled by the other group of tug-of-war guys. The moon there is the thing getting pulled by Earth. And for the last one, we'll just think of the doorknob itself getting pulled as well. Okay. Now this will explain the key difference between push and pull. Okay, let's have a look at Bruce Lee again. And if you have a look at him, the force on the object is there. You can see him. This will get into force diagrams in the future. Here we got Mo Salah pushing down on that ball, and the ground there, or the friction on the ground, pushing back against the tire of the car there. Okay, so with all those push forces, they're all into the object itself. Okay, they're inwards towards the object. Now this is important for you to think about when you're doing force diagrams. You'll get to do force diagrams later from this. So it's important to think about a push force as being in towards the object. Okay. Now thinking about the pull forces, so the Earth pulls the moon, so the moon's getting pulled away towards the Earth. That guy is getting pulled to the left by the other tug-of-warans, and the doorknob is getting pulled to the right there, so out away from that doorknob. Okay, so pull forces are always away from an object, and it's important to distinguish and to think about forces, or push and pull forces, in this sense, especially when we get to free body diagrams and force diagrams. It's important to think of it this way. Okay, for the rest of the video, we're going to go through a little fun fact. This might be a way of thinking of just general forces in life, especially for Newton's physics. There's most of the common forces that we deal with, except for gravity, actually stem from the electrostatic force. Okay, now the electrostatic force is to do with charges, so positive and negative charges. We can see here like charges attract and opposite charges repel. Sorry, the other way around. Opposite charges attract and like charges repel. My apologies. But atoms and things like that all have the nucleus of an atom is a positive charge, or is made of positive charges, and the electrons surrounding them are negative charges. So let's think about why this is in terms of the example we've got here with Bruce Lee. Okay, now if we zoom in to that point of contact between Bruce Lee's 1-inch fist and that wooden plank there, we can kind of zoom in at an atomic level. So to see the atoms interacting there. So the atoms from Bruce Lee's fist get super close to the opponent's plank, or that plank set of atoms, but they don't actually ever touch. And what happens, there's a bit of repulsion between those there, so it pushes away there. Okay, so this is an interesting way of thinking of all those push and pull forces that we're used to. Okay, that's enough from me today. May the force be with you. And I'll leave you guys with some wise words from Yoda just to finalise what a classic movie that is, Star Wars there.
Nothing more will I teach you today. Clear your mind of questions.
Again, wise words. Thank you for watching. You can clear your mind of questions by putting them below in the comments below. But thanks for watching. I hope that gave you a succinct description of forces. Thanks again in advance for subscribing. It's really appreciated. As I said, definitely offload some comments below there. Cool. Thanks for watching.